Hello everybody, it's Nick from North Andover Cam here, and today we're going to take a look at how to start recording video with an XA25 video camera. We use these Manfrotto tripods here for all of our XA25s here at the studio, so we're going to start by attaching it to the tripod so we have a nice base to work with. We're going to start by unscrewing this a little bit until it's nice and loose, and then we're going to push down on it so this metal piece right here moves out of the way and allows us to put the tripod plate on. So we're going to hold that down, and we're going to come in from the side, and we're going to start on the opposite side from where our button is here. Drop that in, and then it just rests down, and now we can move it within the rails. And then once we get it nice and centered, we will let go of that so it is back to the top, and then we can screw it back into place, and now nice and secured. Now the first thing we need to do with our camera is put a battery in it so we can actually turn it on. Here we have the batteries for the XA25. They're the same batteries actually for the XA25 and 65. And they have these little teeth at the top, these little 3 prongs, and that's what we're going to use to line it up to put it into the back of the camera. So on the back of the camera, we want those 3 prongs to be facing up into the top right corner. And then we're going to come here from the bottom, and we're just going to push up until we hear that click, and that's how you know that it's nice and locked. We can open up our side screen here and use the on-off switch on the top of the camera right here. It has 3 modes. It has off, it has on, and it has media. Media mode is how you go and access the clips that you have already shot, and you can watch them back. You access that by pushing the dial back into media mode. The default is off, it's right in the middle, and then if you push forward into camera, our screen will start to turn on here. And our screen is now on. We see we have this message here that we don't have an SD card, we don't have a memory card, so we can't record anything. So we're going to take our SD card right here, and we're going to put it in. So in order to do that, right behind the screen here against the flat side of the camera, there's the SD card slots. There's 2 of them, A and B, and you just put your finger right here and slide that up. There are 2 slots. You can have up to 2 memory cards in there at the same time. If you need additional space, you can have it so it'll be recording on one, and once that one fills, it'll move to the second one. But if you're recording with just one SD card, you need to remember to put it into slot A, because if you only have one memory card and it's in slot B, it won't work. It has to, if you're using one, it has to be in slot A. In the top right corner of the screen, it says A with green on it. That means that our card is in slot A, and we have the amount of time remaining on that card. If you're putting in an SD card that's not a fresh one, it hasn't been formatted, and you need more space or to format it to the device, then what we can do is hit the function button in the top left, then hit that same button again now that it says menu. And then we're going to go to the second menu, the one with the film strip and the gear. So we click that. And the initializing is actually the last thing in the menu. So you could scroll all the way down using the arrow there, but if you just hit the top arrow once, it wraps around to the bottom, and we're right here on Initialize SD. So we're just going to go ahead and press the button next to it, and it'll ask which card we want to format. We only have 1 card in, so the B slot is grayed out, so we will select A. And it shows how much the space is used, how much is remaining. We're going to hit Initialize, and it's going to ask you to confirm. We'll hit yes, we would like to do that. And it's just going to take a quick second, and process complete. So we will hit OK. Now we're back in the menu. We can just go ahead and hit this function button right here, right by the record button, and that will just get us out of the menu, bring us back to the LCD screen. When using this camera on a tripod, we like to use these controllers here to give us some additional support when using the camera on a tripod. It just makes it a little easier with putting buttons in more applicable places. So for this controller, it works by attaching to the arm of the tripod, and then use the fastener right here to clamp it down. that's nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Make sure I can still access the tilt buttons right there. And it has this cable that we need to attach to the camera so that it can control the operations of the camera. So for that, we have to come around to this side. Right here behind this flap is where a lot of the controls are. So we're just going to open up the flap, and I like to just kind of tuck it right behind here so that I have access to all of the things here. And we're looking for remote. It's labeled right here. It says remote. And we just plug this right in. There we go. And now we come back around. Our controller is working. See, I'm using the dial right here to zoom in and zoom out. There are a few other ways that you can zoom in and out. So alongside the handle, we also have this rocker control right here on the top, and it's labeled with a T and a W. T is for tight, W is for wide. And then we also have a second one up here on the handle. Again, it's T for tight, W for wide. The only difference between these two, if you're holding it handheld from the top, this one's easier to access, or if you're using the hand, it's right here. But this one is the same as the one on the handle in that they go at the same speed. This one here on the top, it goes at a slower pace. It zooms in slower and zooms out slower. For recording on this camera, you have your main record button right here on the back. But then, just like how there's two zooms, there's also a second record button that's up here on the handle. This one is interesting because it has actually a lock. So if you slide the lock into place, it means that you can't press the button anymore. And that can be handy for if you are, holding it from the top doing a handheld shot and you're using the zoom right here. You don't want to accidentally move your thumb over and press the record button to either stop your recording or start when you don't mean to. So you can do something like press it to start your recording, then lock so that you won't accidentally stop your recording in the middle. And then when you're done, you can just unlock it and press the button again. The audio controls on these cameras are up here on the handle. We have two XLR inputs on the side here. If you get this camera in one of our kits, then it's going to have one of these shotgun microphones already attached. And we also have a bunch of external mic options like lavaliers, handheld mics, things of that nature that we can also pair with this unit. So your two main XLR inputs are there. It also has an internal mic so that if you completely turn off this upper portion with these connectors, it'll just record on the internal microphone of the camera. And it also has right over here a mic input that is the little mini jack. So that can also be a microphone input if you have like a different type of shotgun or one of those small lavalier kits that use that type of connection. And you can change which connection it's using by just going into the settings menu. There are two channels, 1 and 2, and you can control what source is going to those channels in the menu. So the sources are on this side. And if we come around to this side, here is where we have our actual controls. So this big on-off right in the middle, that controls if this handle unit is being used at all. So if it's on, then you have activated your two sources here. But if you turn it off, then it'll default to using the internal mic on the camera and just completely ignore all the things up here in the handle. So if you're using a shotgun or something connected, you really want to make sure that that is on. And then we have input 1 on the top and input 2 on the bottom. Our first option is the mic type. So we have mic plus 48, that is for phantom power. This microphone right here, it is a condenser microphone that doesn't have an internal battery or anything, so it requires phantom power to work. So we have the plus 48 on right there. Your other option in the middle here is just a regular mic level. That's for like dynamic mics or things that don't need phantom power. And then it also accepts line. So you can come out of, say, the line out of an audio mixer or something of that nature and pump it right into one of your channels. So we'll put that into 48 because that is where our condenser mic is plugged in. And then for your first channel, you also have an option for auto or manual control. The auto control will have the camera set the level of the audio. We have noticed with these and the XA25s as well that whenever you have it on auto, it records a little bit hot on audio. It's a little high, but sometimes that's just what you need if there's going to be changes in how loud your inputs are going to be. Maybe auto will be the best setting for you, even if it is a little loud. If you go on and turn it into manual, then you see this dial over here. When it's in manual, this dial controls your volume. So there's a minimum all the way at the bottom, there's a maximum all the way at the top, and then there's a big line right in the middle for the middle. And for this, you can be watching your audio meter down here in the bottom right of the screen, or you can be plugged into headphones and be watching it that way. And you can just move the dial to adjust the input level as you choose. And you have the same exact settings at the bottom as well, but it's for the second input. Also on the top right here next to the zoom rocker, we have our auto, manual, and cinema buttons. These are basically the mode switches. They determine what mode your camera is in. Auto is pretty self-explanatory. It controls your light settings, your iris, ISO, shutter, ND, all of that. It does it all for you, and it adjusts to the scene in front of you. When you put it down into the middle into manual mode, then you have greater control over your settings. You can go into the menu and adjust all of them up on the screen. It'll pop up a slider and you just move it left and right to get the look that you want. And then it also has a cinema mode here, which automatically turns the frame rate to 23.97, and it also has some effects, filters, things going on. We don't tend to use this mode much at all. It's kind of just there for fun. But if you're brand new to using the camera, the auto settings are pretty decent on here, and they'll get you some pretty nice looking footage. If you're a little bit more advanced, or if you have some interesting lighting conditions, then you may have to pop it over into manual and start messing with the sliders a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like more information about our equipment or our space or our membership program, please go to northandovercam.org.